It's a pleasure for me to be here today to share the findings of our research study. My co-authors were unable to attend, so I'll be presenting on behalf of all of us. Our interest in this topic came out of an informal conversation we had with deaf colleagues on their experiences of working in environments where they were in the minority and their work interactions were predominantly mediated via sign language interpreters. Although the provision of sign language interpreters is positive, it may be perceived as problematic for two reasons. One, the loss of agency for deaf signers in projecting their identity, because when they sign, someone else, the interpreter, speaks for them. And two, deaf signers are perceived by hearing non-signers through an other, who is more than the arbiter of linguistic content. Interpreters are imbued with powers of representation and portrayal of deaf people. For example, tone of voice, lexical choices, register, and the identity of the interpreter themselves involve the translation of who we are. This presentation is about our exploration of one aspect of what we have called the translated deaf self. This phrase refers to the impact for deaf signers of multiple, regular, lifelong experiences of being encountered by others through sign language interpreters. We set out to explore the following two factors. The first one, hearing colleagues' experience of working relations with deaf colleagues, and the second one, hearing people's perceptions of the impact of sign language interpreters and the process of interpretation with respect to how they get to know deaf colleagues and build relationships. The participants for our study were purposefully selected. Personal invitations were sent to 12 hearing people known to have regular contact with deaf colleagues in a work environment. Contact with deaf people ranged from occasional indirect contact to frequent weekly contact. For some, contact was task-centered, for example, organising appointments, responding to questions, while for others, it consisted of complex joint working, including being on the same professional team as a deaf colleague. Participants' experience of working contact with deaf colleagues ranged from 1 to 5 years. Results are presented in 5 themes which emerged from the data. The relational aspects of communication across languages emerged as significant in our data, with some helpful pointers to simple strategies that, while not solving communication problems, demonstrate a positive relational attitude which was of itself helpful in working relations. Examples include deliberately adding social information to work emails, the use of emoticons, the strength of maintaining eye contact with the person signing, even if the message was coming from the voice of the interpreter, and a conscious awareness to attempt small talk in informal spaces.